Hey everybody, welcome back. This would be part 2 of the topic du jour across several jours. And it's great concerts I'm glad to have attended and all that. And hopefully there's no overlaps or repeats from the previous episode, but if so, you know what, that's a good thing, because that shows that you're paying attention, if you notice that. So, without further ado, as many have said, and in no particular order, this is not a ranking in terms of greatness. They're all great in their own way, and I'm glad to have attended them. And moving right along, okay, I'm glad to have seen Bebop Deluxe twice, and Bill Nelson solo once. Those are great shows. The Bill Nelson show was in a small club. It was more intimate, not like the other two, the Bebop Deluxe shows, which were in a concert hall, not like arena shows or anything, but in a concert hall with his whole Bebop Deluxe band. Glad to have seen them. Consider myself quite fortunate. I was so happy about the Bill Nelson solo exhibit because, I wasn't able to get over to England. I still haven't been there to attend any of the Nelsonica conventions / performance events, and those seem to have changed slightly, in that there may no longer be live performances incorporated into them. And anyway, I'm going off track. That I was glad to have seen Bill Nelson live. At the time, I remember I think the show was postponed once or twice, and it was around the time of his Vista Mix compilation, so it incorporated stuff from a couple of his earlier solo efforts, and it was fantastic. And then Clock DVA. Just in recent years, over the past 10 years or so, emerging and giving shows in New York, and also I would include in that the Anti-Group. Very, very fortunate to have attended these shows. XTC. Glad to have seen XTC live. I think I saw them more than once. I think I saw them 2 or 3 times. It's a little bit of a blur. Just like I was saying in the previous video, that I had attended many, many shows, early 80s through to mid 90s. Many shows, caught a lot of bands on follow-up visits, and last minute shows that I heard word of mouth, or you'd be at a club, you'd hear from someone, you like this band, they're playing a show, it's tonight, or it's tomorrow night, and that kind of thing, and everything in between. But so glad to have seen XTC live. Andy Partridge had to address certain issues, and took a very long hiatus from live shows. Will they ever play live again? Are they officially, formally dissolved and broken up? I don't know. Skinny Puppy, glad to have seen them live several times. Always thrilling. And, theirs is a hard music to reproduce. And I say that no matter how things are played back, using sequencers, using backing tapes, synthesizers, drum machines, in conjunction with a regular drum kit, all these things, they've got it down to a science. They're fantastic. I think they're kind of wrapping it up. EBN, Emergency Broadcast Network, saw them live several times. Josh and those guys were like geniuses. It probably worked to a slight disadvantage that they were like so far ahead of the curve that Or maybe, you know, their strengths lay in other fields and they just felt like, you know, schlepping around the globe doing shows was not their thing. I'd still like to see some sort of configuration of emergency broadcast network come back. And, you know, kind of, they used to kind of show up more. There were a lot of political elements to their work, and they would show up when it was, you know, like presidential election time. So maybe that's why they popped into my head, and they would be well appreciated now. They'd have a wealth of material to choose from, that's for sure. Okay, Wall of Voodoo, the Stan Ridgway-led version. Saw them live many times, and always great. Always great. What a tight group. Fantastic. Like that, again, in a live context, you could seriously make the argument that they weren't properly captured on record, that the live shows were the way to hear their music. Edwyn Collins, I saw him twice live around the time of I think it's Gorgeous George, Girl Like You, around that era. And then he had his health issues. And then miraculously, he came back and he did a show at the Bowery Ballroom. I'm pretty sure that was the venue. And it was amazing. Very emotional. I hope he can come back and do another show sometime. That was one of the highlights of my concert going experiences. And then, you know, we have those great Cave Stomp package shows that were put together. So a lot of great bands. You know, the focus is on bands from the 60s, psychedelic bands and neo-psychedelic and garage, early proto-punk kind of bands. Got to see a lot of great groups. And one of the highlights for me was, besides, of course, Plastic Land, which I mentioned in the last video, one of the highlights was seeing Sky Saxon of the Seeds backed up by the Mysterians, as in question mark and the Mysterians. Great seeing them, you know. Great seeing question mark and Mysterians. Fantastic seeing Sky Saxon with the Mysterians as his backup band, you know, in place of the Seeds. Wow. Very, very cool show. And then the last one for this episode that I'm going to mention was, this was the day after seeing Roxy Music in 2001 at the Paramount Theater, I believe, which used to be known as the Felt Forum. It's kind of like a smaller venue within Madison Square Garden. Saw Roxy Music. The next day, get up, race back to Manhattan to see the Trogs giving a free show. I think it was sponsored by WCBS FM, and it was 2 lunchtime sets back to back at the World Trade Center, right, you know, kind of in the courtyard of the Twin Towers. You know, it was a short set, maybe a half an hour per set, two sets back to back with a short break in between. Very fortunate to have seen that. I'll think of more. And I might do one more episode that'll be focused on the concert experience. And on a side note, I'm thinking of doing a format of episodes about, it's going to be 10 random songs, and these could just be without having a genre in mind. You could listen to them in order, you could make up your own little shuffled playlist for perfect segueing from one track to the next. As long as you check them out, that's my point. I've done the legwork and earwork, and I'm presenting them to you on an invisible silver platter for your enjoyment and listening pleasure. And it's going to be, that'll sometimes be 10 songs that are somewhat randomly picked, and they'll go across certain genres. Sometimes it'll be 10 songs that are picked that are of a specific artist, and then sometimes it'll be 10 songs that are more restricted, if that's the word to use here, restricted, confined, within the boundaries of a certain genre. You know, it'll be like 10 psychedelic songs you gotta hear, 10 electronic songs you gotta hear, that kind of thing. But until I put those together, that's all I can offer you. Is a teaser of what's to come, amongst other regular topic du jour videos. So enjoy yourself, be safe out there. If you're too hot, stay cool. And you know how artists suffer for their art? Well, not on that level, but in a different way. I shut the air conditioning just to make this video and to give you a taste, because I would be screaming over the video. This is what it would be like. Alright, so here we are in the air-conditioned room with the constant hum of the air conditioner, and I'll see you soon. Next video. Over and out. Bye-bye.